Hi, good evening. I was getting ready to say good morning, but good evening. Um, I know I look a little rough. It's fine, whatever. Today is just the day. I'm chilling and relaxing, so whatever. I'm not about to get all dolled up just to be in front of the camera. But I do want to talk about something. I want to talk about depression and um, how to, for those that are battling depression and in depression, I want to give tools and things that you can use to overcome depression. Let me tell you something. Depression is so easy to slip into. It's so easy to slip into. Yes, some of the factors are financial, family issues, maybe it's friends that you have, you know, internet, you know, um, depression can come from a lot of places. And for me, when I was depressed, depression came from every angle of financial stability. You know, raising children on your own with no help whatsoever. And, you know, no, it's not anyone's fault that I laid down and had kids. But at the same time, don't make someone feel guilty for making mistakes, because true enough, I had kids, but I was young. I was so young. I was naive to things. Like, just give you a description. Like, I grew up in a religious home where, you know, you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. We couldn't do anything, nothing. And, you know, as I got older, I became very rebellious. Very rebellious. I wanted to just do anything just to have fun. So I found myself doing things, having sex at an early age, and thinking that that was a level of fun. But it wasn't. No one sat me down, because most of the time, people of religion, they tend to just, oh, you gotta do this, you gotta do this. You can't, they make it seem like you have to be so daggone near perfect in order for you to be like, live life. But one thing they don't tell you is God gave us five senses. We're gonna have to use them. He's not gonna just do stuff, or the higher power, whatever you believe in. They're not gonna just do stuff and you don't have to do anything to work for it. That's not how life works. You know, yes, you can pray, you can do this, but if you're using the wrong formula to get the solution that you're trying to do, sometimes it's not going to work. And then guess what? Because I was raised in such a religious background, people judged me and they was like, oh, you got this amount of kids out of wedlock, you know, I'm a whore, I'm a slut, you know, whatever. But a woman that has a lot of kids is not always necessarily a hoe or a slut. That just means she just had a lot of kids. Now, as for me, I could say when I was younger, I was very promiscuous. And I felt like being promiscuous was fun, because I was sneaking and I was doing things. Like, when you sneak and you do stuff, it's thrilling, it's fun, but there's repercussions behind it. You know, if someone would have sat down and said, hey, live your life, don't worry about having kids. Penis and vagina, I'm just being, because I don't want to be too descriptive on you know, the channel, but penis and vagina will always be around. Opportunities don't come all the time. And sometimes your opportunities can be harder when you create different things in life that was never intended to be right then and there. You know, some stuff in life is intended for later on, and that's okay. And it took me going through so much to understand just the basics of life. I haven't even touched the surface of what life has for me. Let me tell you, the people that smile all the time and they say, oh, I'm fine, I don't need nothing, I don't need nothing. Most of the time, they're not fine, because I was one of those people. I could smile. I made sure I was there for everybody. I looked out for my family, friends. At least I thought they were my friends at the time. And hopes of they would do the same. But they didn't. They didn't. That left me in a depressed state. Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, if I support this person in what they're doing, if I believe in what they're doing, well, somebody might in return, and support me and believe in me and what I'm doing. So that was my whole thought in of the situation. And I never would have thought that, no, there wasn't. You couldn't tell me back then there wasn't. But as I became very depressed, people attacked my motherhood. They called me a trifling mother. People called DFACS or CPS on me just to see my children taken away from me. They didn't feel like I qualified to be a mother. People lied and said that I beat my kids black and blue and I don't feed them and I don't. And that was a lie. All because I had to stand up for myself. And when I say stand up for myself, people didn't like the fact that I stood up for what was right. And they were so used to me being a doormat and allowing people to be a doormat. They felt like I didn't have a voice, I was weak. No, I wasn't necessarily weak. I just wanted to support people in hopes that they would support me. But it wasn't like that. That left me very angry and feeling depressed. And then, my financial stability is not nowhere near where I need it to be. I'm struggling and barely making it with these children I have. I don't know when and where our next meal is coming from. I'm not talking to family members because they don't like the people that, I was around or whatever. But guess what? As a human being, love don't get you. When you love somebody in spite of, you don't sit there and you don't pick and choose how you gonna love them, when you gonna love them, where and why. You love that person in spite of, even if you don't feel like that person is worthy of you loving them because of you feel like they're doing something dumb. Love covers a multitude of sins. Love covers somebody that's depressed. Love covers someone that is lacking. Love covers where someone's weak. Love covers someone even if you don't see them 10 years later, they don't rocket shoot what they're trying to do. In spite of, you still love that person. People get away from loving somebody. They want to become judgmental and say, oh, this person look like this, or this person don't have this, or this person. Let me tell you something. You can't really judge no one. Because the time you spend judging somebody, baby, your closet is over there getting built up with dirt, trash, debris, everything else. So where in the high hell can you judge judge somebody, and your closet is sitting over here with all debris, and you don't have time to judge someone. Especially when you got children or a kid, you don't have time to judge someone. When you love someone, that is less time than judging someone. Because when you judge someone, it takes a lot of thought, a lot of energy to put into negativity. Let me tell you something. Some tools and keys to do. When I was in a deep depression, I wrote on my mirror, you're beautiful, you're courageous, you're all that, you're worth it. Even though I didn't believe that at the time, I put that on my mirror. But I said, you got to come to something. This is not working. I spent 6 months of my life one time choking myself until I blacked out and wouldn't remember what happened. I was hurt. I was in pain because I felt like I was a nothing or nobody, because I believed the words that people said to me. Nobody ever came to me and said anything out of love. Everybody told me what they thought of me when I was in my my lowest, darkest times. Yeah, and I'm emotional about it because it's real. That was where I was at. And I see a lot of people taking their life because they don't have no one to run to. They don't have nobody to vent to. Like, venting is good, but you can't vent to everyone. And it left me very, 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 very vulnerable. Very vulnerable. Everything in my life seemed to be going wrong, wrong, wrong. Even when I try to make things right, it was just wrong, 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 wrong. And I just was like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? There's no way I should be here. And all this is happening to me. I don't deserve a place. I don't deserve a place. But that's not true. For those of you that is battling, let me tell you something. For those of you that are battling suicide, you have a place. I'm telling you, I don't even know you, but I love you only because that is real. That is real. I love you. You are somebody. Your dream may not come true tomorrow, another year from now, but it will come. You gotta believe it. You gotta believe it for yourself. That is real. This is not a game. This is not a joke. It's people out here really killing themselves because they don't feel worthy of being here, because they hear so many naysayers talking about they're not qualified or they don't. Yeah, somebody could say, oh, that's dumb for you to feel. Until you put yourself in that life and walk that shoe that you stand in, don't speak on a situation you know not of. Because when you are left in that level of depression, you don't feel worthy. You don't look around and see about the people that really love and care for you, because they don't make that acknowledgeable. They make sure they could tell you how dumb and stupid and worthless you are. They could tell you those things, but nobody takes the moments and the time to really tell somebody that they're worth it, when they even if their life says they're not worth it, they are worth it. You are worth it. Even if you're one person. So it's a lot to mentally take on when you feel like you can't keep a job, or you can't make money. You can't meet up to the expectations of what someone thinks of you. And that was what my whole problem was. I used to live for the expectation because I wanted people to get off of my back with the negativity. I didn't know how to fight through the negativity. So I felt like, you know what? I have no place. I didn't even feel like I was worthy enough to raise my kids because of how bad people would talk about me. How bad they would lie just so that they could see me destroyed. Little did they know my mind and psychological was already destroyed. It was gone. It didn't mean nothing to me for you to destroy my body. I was already destroying that when I laid it down multiple times, getting paid for it. I was destroying that. That didn't have no meaning to me.